Hello my darlings, I want you to take this as a sign to finish up some of your fragrances. Over the last couple of years, I have been going through my fragrance collection rather mindfully, using up fragrances, decluttering what I didn't really love, and finishing up fragrances. Creating all these rules around my fragrance collection has been important for me. This is an expensive hobby. This is a hobby that is very easily influenced by those who create fragrance content, and I just needed to take a step back, and do this in my own terms and create those terms. And I'm saying all this to inspire somebody out there. We are all in love with fragrances right now, and I'm sure for many of us it's a forever love, but it doesn't need to be a love that is overwhelming or dictated by what we watch on social media. We can set those rules for ourselves. I just want to put that out there. So let's get into these empties. One thing about my collection is I have quite a few discontinued old vintage type of fragrances, and I didn't keep those bottles because I didn't see the point of them being in this video. That is another rule that I have created. I am no longer going out of my way to find vintage fragrances. If they come my way, fair enough, but for me to go out there hunting for them, I was giving myself a little bit of a small stress, and I didn't want that anymore. So fragrances that were old, that were vintage, that were discontinued, I have finished some of them up. Some were decluttered, and they're just not going to feature so much heavily in my fragrance content. With that being said, let's get into it. We will start with something that I am very close to finishing. I've only got a few sprays left of this. This is my darling Cabochard. This is the Eau de Toilette, the 2019 version. I do have the vintage one, which I prefer. It's a little bit more sweeter than this, a little bit more ambery. There's just a little bit more going on than this. This is rather linear. It's a straightforward Chypre, very mossy, very leathery. Reminds me of, it's beautiful. I'm still not sure if I need to repurchase this, but this is a scent profile that features very heavily in my collection. And that's another thing that I'm doing as I go through my collection, is realizing that I have so many fragrances that sit in the same family, and how many of them do I need. This is beautiful. I do see myself repurchasing it. It's not a run don't walk situation for me. As I said, leathery, mossy, reminds me of, this gives secretary, tight ponytail, always has red nails, always has her stockings on, always got her pointy stilettos on. She's gathered, her desk is immaculate. This is what Cabochard reminds me of. Very grown woman, not easily signature scent worthy because it lacks a certain playfulness. But if you like serious grown woman fragrances, you will love this. This is beautiful. This is really, really beautiful. Some of the other notes in Cabochard are rose, aldehydes, sage, bergamot, patchouli, and sandalwood. Next up with me is Covet by Sarah Jessica Parker. This is a fragrance that I absolutely love. This is a definite repurchase for me. It must be purchased soon. Something very comforting in this. The mix of dark chocolate and lavender is what makes this fragrance very special. I particularly love wearing it to bed. It would make very many people happy. It would surprise very many people. When you hear dark chocolate and lavender, you don't expect it to work, but it really, really does. It makes this fragrance, even though it's soft and powdery and sweet, it just gives it a little bit of edge, a freshness, aromatic, as they would say in the fragrance world. Absolutely love. I definitely highly recommend this if you like your girly fragrances and you're just looking for something different. Also, if you love to wear fragrance to bed, this must be in your repertoire. Very, very beautiful. I've got dredges in it. Let's see if I can get a few sprays. Yeah, Very delightful, very, very delightful. I was very happy with that bottle. Easy repurchase. Apart from the dark chocolate and the lavender, there's Sicilian lemon in this, lily of the valley, cashmere wood, teak wood, and amber. In fact, I believe I talked about Covet in my first fragrance collection video. I will make sure to link all of them down below. Beautiful fragrance, love, repurchase, definitely. Now for my fragrance of the day, this is Jo Malone Fig and Lotus Cologne. This is my first Jo Malone, and everything they say is true. It doesn't last on the skin, but it does smell beautiful. For that lasting power, I don't know if Jo Malone really can command that money, but I also know we are paying for an experience. I really liked this. I mean, it's empty, and I only got it. When did I buy this? I bought this in March, or rather it was a gift. I didn't buy this. This was a gift. And thankfully the weather has been beautiful over April and May, so I've really worn this. But I am a perfume drencher, and I have heavily worn this for me to actually smell it. It is quite a light fragrance, but it's really pretty. It's easy to wear. It's not complicated. It smells girly. There's a muskiness to it as well, giving it a really nice fresh vibe. I like this. Would I repurchase this? Absolutely not. I can find something that can do the same thing in my collection, but I enjoyed every moment of it. Yeah, it was not bad. It was not bad. The fragrance is rather simple. It only has the notes of fig and lotus. Next up with me is my darling Bluegrass from Elizabeth Arden. I love this stuff. I have several backups, both the vintage bottles and the new formulation. I have found both the vintage and the new formulation to be rather similar. You don't have to go hunting for the vintage formulation, though I do love the bottles. Beautiful, fuzzy, warm, citrusy, easy to wear. Almost signature scent worthy. Almost signature scent worthy if it wasn't so, I don't want to call this dated, but there's something about it that does smell old school, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful fragrance. I love it. I just love that warm, fuzzy feeling it gives me. I love this in the winter. It really picks up my spirits. For me, this is a fragrance that gives a lot of mommy vibes, nyummy mommy vibes. You know, girl in her mid-30s, mid-40s, and she's got a lot of love to give, and she's a busy girl. She's a mommy, she's a wife, she's in and out of the house, she's doing so many things, but she manages to always find space for people in her life, and she does that because she gives herself space. Okay, she pours into herself before she pours into others. Beautiful fragrance. Absolutely love. As you can see, brings joy to me. Pretty. Some of the notes in Bluegrass are aldehydes, lavender, carnation, spices, sandalwood, vetiver, and musk. A fragrance that really symbolizes that scent profile that is so dominant in my collection. Coriandre by Jeanne Courtier, a classic in my collection that symbolizes that scent profile that I talk about quite a lot, that features a little bit too heavily in IJ's collection. This is very me, grown woman fragrance, mossy, green, heavy, strong, dry, leathery. Definitely not a small girl fragrance, definitely not. Reminds me of old money. This is old money. This is, I have 5 Chanel suits, 5 Chanel shoes, pole neck, pearl necklace, ballet flats type of girl. That's what this is. Country club life, public private school life, just all those things, all those things we associate with old money, that is particularly actually white old money. beautiful fragrance. I don't know if I'm going to repurchase this. In fact, I have a strong suspicion I have a backup of this. I'm not quite sure. A grown woman fragrance. Very refined yet ballsy at the same time. Probably have a backup. I have no business repurchasing this. I really don't. As the name suggests, there's coriander in this. There's also aldehydes, there's oak moss, there's ylang ylang, civet, musk, and sandalwood. Such a pretty bottle as well. I really love that Art Deco vibe it has. Oh, let's talk about something that I didn't expect to fall in love with, but I really did. J'adore by Christian Dior. I get it. J'adore lovers, I get it. This is absolutely beautiful. This is stunning. This is signature scent worthy. This is delicate, easygoing, comfortable, sensual, easy to please, but yet she knows exactly what she wants type of fragrance. I get it. J'adore lovers, I absolutely get it. This is a beautiful fragrance. I do want it back in my collection. Do I need to have several backups? No. Do I need to try all the flankers? No. I think this is just enough. I think it's just right. I absolutely understand why this is so well loved. It is a beautiful fragrance. If you are a floral lover and you still haven't tried J'adore, don't be like me and wait too long. She's a stunner. She's signature scent worthy. She can be worn anywhere for anything. For an updo, for a downdo, down to the market, down to the supermarket, date night. She is definitely worth all the noise she has gotten over the last years. Beautiful fragrance. Some of the notes in J'adore are pear, freesia, jasmine, orchid, musk, vanilla, and cedar. Let's talk about Musti. Musti is a baby fragrance. I am a firm believer that we should all have a few baby fragrances in our collection. 9 out of 10 times they can be very comforting, very beautiful to wear, and they're just different, you know. They're something interesting to have. We are fragrance collectors for a reason. Our collections should be different, you know. Musti is very easy on the nose. It is also specifically made for babies. Quite a few baby fragrances out there are not really baby skin friendly because they have alcohol. This doesn't have alcohol. Very watery, very clean, nothing exceptional to write home about. It's not particularly difficult to get. It is something that is still being made. I got this on the Essential website. The French are so good with baby fragrances. They have so many. In fact, I will link down the website Origins. They have quite a few baby fragrances on there, which I am due to do a very serious haul, but I'm minding my business as I go through my collection. This was a delight. Very hot weather, just made me feel clean, and it cooled down my skin a little bit, made me feel fresh with a very slight powdery note. Really appreciate this, but I have other baby fragrances in my collection that I love a little bit more. And as I had said, there are quite a few more baby fragrances out there that I want to explore. This is not necessarily a repurchase for me, but I definitely recommend it. I also love the price. I think this was like 8 pounds. Yeah, 10 to 8 pounds. In Musti, we have chamomile, rose, lilac, and honey. Petrichor from Demeter, the library of fragrances. Very interesting. It's close to mimicking the smell of petrichor, which is the smell of the air just before it rains. Watery and metallic, that's what I would call this. Very interesting scent. I really enjoyed wearing it to bed. There's barely anything left in the bottle for me to spray, but I can still smell it. Would I repurchase this? I don't know. It's interesting enough to repurchase. It's interesting enough to repurchase. There's something about it that also reminds me of, am I going to say it? Yes, I am. Spit. I know, slightly offensive. I think some people will find this fragrance offensive and some people will find it interesting. I found it interesting. I was able to get away with it, and it worked both in the summer and the winter, and I feel like I enjoyed it. Possible repurchase, not 100% guaranteed. If anything, it's interesting. Very, very interesting. We all know this brand has interesting takes on fragrances. I'll need to make a note. The fragrance that made me fall in love with the note of Neroli. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. I have a backup. I might buy another one. Just clean and fresh and open, and it was one of those fragrances I could just drench my entire self with it. It's very much so a summer fragrance. I really enjoyed this last year in the summer. That's when it ended. I absolutely love this. Just, there's nothing more to say about it. Clean, fresh, open, citrusy, just utter perfection. You're on a lovely hot holiday. You're seated enjoying a very cold, crisp glass of beer or wine. Beer in my case. And you know something salty is about to land in the mouth. You're about to just start chewing on some very beautiful, delicious food. And life is good though. Life is good. That's what this fragrance does for me. Beautiful. I need to buy another bottle and put it in the backup collection. As the name suggests, Neroli is in this fragrance. There is also orange blossom, jasmine, lemon, and rosemary. If you love your summer scents, this is a no-brainer. It is absolutely stunning. It just brings me a lot of joy. That's all I can say. Another summer fragrance. This is Tuscan Soul by Salvatore Ferragamo. I have 2 little samples of them. I'll hold up the box so that we know what we are talking about. Beautiful, classic Italian summer fragrance. Very fresh on the skin, very beautiful, but because it is difficult to find, it's not something I need to go hunting for. I know I can find this scent profile. I'm not desperate for it, but it is absolutely stunning. I've read a few reviews on Fragrantica. I can never say that website. I can never say that word. I've read a few reviews, and there's some people who dive very hard for this fragrance, and I understand why. I've got just a little bit of it on my arm. It has a seriousness to it. It has a lot of body. If I could easily purchase this, I would have the big bottle, but I can't. I really don't want that to be a part of my collecting ways. Going out looking for fragrances and struggling to find them and paying what I don't need to be paying for them. But Tuscan Soul, take me to Italy. Now, take me to Italy. Wait. Yeah, I'll go to Italy now. Thanks. In Tuscan Soul, we have bergamot, petitgrain, fig tree, and iris flower. Now that I've mentioned the notes to you, I feel like it's a petitgrain that makes me love that fragrance. Yes, it's probably the petitgrain that makes me love that fragrance. I'll keep that in mind. We're finishing things up here with Dalistyle from Salvador Dali. This is just a 10 ml of the fragrance, but it was enough for me. As you know, I'm not one for dainty little fragrances. This is a fragrance for the pear lover. It's very heavy in the pear, very heavy in the freesia and the lotus. Just an airy, sweet floral that is not offensive. Slightly soapy. I sprayed some on my hand. Slightly soapy. There's a bit of a tang to it. It's not impossible to find. It's rather affordable as well, but it's not something for IJ to go hunting. The bottle is rather interesting. I like the shape of the bottle. I'll put up a picture here, but there's nothing much more to say about this. It's just a pretty girl fragrance, summer friendly of course because of all the light notes, and that's about it. I did mention the pear, but some of the other notes in this are orange, blackcurrant, peach blossom, musk, vanilla, and cedar. And that's that, my darlings. These are the empties I have accumulated over the last couple of years as I am going through my collection. In my last fragrance video, I did promise I would come back in the summer with a continuation of my fragrance collection video. I will keep that promise. If anything, down in the description box, I will link everything that I have mentioned, including my past videos about my fragrance collection. Finish up those bottles, okay? We can finish up our fragrances. It's okay. It's okay. I want to thank you so much for being here. My name is Ijama, and I'll see you soon.